Whether it's being called gay, accused of being gay, accused of being a thief, accused of being anything, if somebody's lying on you and saying something about you that is not true, it just doesn't feel good.
I don't want somebody to take a misstep, make it as misstep and saying that, well, what's wrong with being gay? It's like, because there's nothing wrong with being gay if that's who you are.
Right, it's just not accurate.
There's something wrong with somebody accusing you of being something or someone that you're not.
At 58, Johnny Gill is finally confirming the scandalous rumors that many fans weren't even aware of.
Let me make sure we're clear on something. Whether it's being called gay, accused of being gay, somebody's lying on you and saying something about you that is not true, it just doesn't feel good.
So, what could this be? Well, it appears the New Edition members have always dealt with internal issues, ranging from financial disputes to disagreements over group decisions.
So no one individual can use the name, that it will always be us collectively.
Okay.
These tensions even spilled over into their tours, leading to cancellations and members walking away. But there's an even more shocking allegation involving Johnny Gill that's turning heads. What could it be? Let's find out. Now let's start with the big fight that happened in 2018. This fight was not about music or money, but about the name of the group.
My lawyer might have called me and said, hey, do you know nobody who owns the name New Edition, blah, 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 and you guys should grab it before somebody gets it. And so let's just put it in a couple of you guys' name, and then, you guys can deal with that. And I said, yes.
Two of the members, Johnny Gill and Ralph Tresvant, owned the rights to the name New Edition. This made the other members, Ronnie DeVoe, Michael Bivens, Ricky Bell, and Bobby Brown, very upset. They could not use the name unless Johnny and Ralph allowed them to. This caused a lot of tension and bad feelings between them.
Let's do an agreement amongst all six of us, so no one individual can use the name, that it will always be us collectively.
Okay, so if one person doesn't join the tour, then you can't be New Edition? Is that kind of what it means?
Right.
The group had been around for many years and made many hit songs. Fans loved them. So when they started fighting, people got sad and confused. Some of the members went on a radio show called The Breakfast Club to talk about their new group called RBRM. This new group had Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. They planned to go on tour, but they had to use a different name because they didn't own New Edition. On the show, Ronnie DeVoe said the fight was not really about who owned the name. He said it was more about the differences between the members. He also said that was the reason all six members were not together. He did not go into deep detail, but you could tell something was wrong behind the scenes. Michael Bivens spoke about how Ralph and Johnny got the name. He said it was just sitting there, and nobody had claimed it at the time. He said it was an oversight, meaning they didn't think to grab the name when they could have. He also said they were trying to fix the problem now. He believed things would work out because, in the past, the group always found a way to come back together. He tried to stay positive and calm.
We was all focused on so much other stuff that I don't think people even realized as important as it was just an oversight.
They trademarked it.
Yeah, someone caught it, boom, boom, boom. We found out about it later, but we dealing with that now.
But Johnny Gill did not agree with how things were going. He was upset when he heard what the others were saying. He had been on vacation and started getting messages from fans about the situation. So he decided to speak out. He wrote a long message on social media, explaining his side of the story. He said the fight was not about keeping the name away from the others. He said he and Ralph just wanted to protect the group's name and history. Johnny explained that they had talked about making a deal. The idea was that no one person could use the name alone. They all had to use it together as a group. This was to stop confusion and keep the group's legacy safe. He said there was never a plan to lock anyone out. They only wanted an agreement that protected the name and made sure it was used the right way.
So no one individual can use the name, that it will always be us collectively.
But Johnny was also upset that some of the other members got lawyers involved. He felt that hiring lawyers made things worse. He believed they should have solved the problem as a family, not through court or legal steps. He thought it was disrespectful to everything they had built together over the years. He was also hurt that the others were talking about their problems in public. In his message, Johnny made it clear that he would not talk about the issue again. He said this was the first and last time he would speak on it. He was tired of the lies, the drama, and the fighting. He wanted to move on and leave it all behind. He ended his message by saying, "God bless," and walked away from the online argument. Fans had different opinions. Some people praised Johnny for staying calm and trying to protect the group. Others were angry that he owned the name when he joined the group later. So in 1996, New Edition got back together for a big tour. It was called the Home Again Tour. At first, things looked good. They had just released their first new album in 8 years. The album, Home Again, came out in September 1996. Fans were excited. The album went straight to #1 on the Billboard charts. The song, Hit Me Off, also did well. It hit #1 on the R&B chart and #3 on the pop chart. They had other popular songs too, like I'm Still in Love with You.
Listen.
You Don't Have to Worry. And One More Day. Even a song that wasn't released as a single, Shop Around, got played on R&B radio stations. The album sold over 2 million copies. It became their biggest success ever. But behind the scenes, things were not so good. The group members didn't always get along. They had big egos and didn't want to share the spotlight. One night during the tour, Bobby Brown stayed on stage too long during his solo part. Ronnie DeVoe got upset. He walked onto the stage and tried to pull Bobby off. Bobby didn't like that. He dropped his microphone and started throwing punches. A real fight started right in front of the crowd. Things got even worse after the fight. The security guards from both sides started arguing and threatening each other. Someone even brought out a gun. Because of this, the concert had to stop right away. Bobby Brown and Michael Bivins left the tour early. The other 4 members, Ronnie DeVoe, Ricky Bell, Johnny Gill, and Ralph Tresvant, kept going and finished the rest of the tour without them. Later, Bobby Brown admitted he had been drunk during that time.
Whether it's being called gay, accused of being gay, accused of being a thief, accused of being anything, if somebody's lying on you and saying something about you that is not true, it just doesn't feel good.
When it comes to his personal life, Johnny Gill has been the target of gay rumors for many years. These rumors began around the late 1980s. At that time, tabloids and gossip magazines loved to talk about celebrities. They didn't always care if something was true. If a story could sell magazines, they printed it. Johnny's friendship with Eddie Murphy got people talking even more. Eddie had also faced similar gay rumors. When people saw the two together, they assumed things without proof. Sadly, people often don't separate real friendship from romantic relationships. Johnny and Eddie were just close friends, but the public wanted to believe something more.
They said it about Oprah and Gill. They said it about Will and Dwayne Martin. So I guess we fit in the group of, because we've always been tight. Eddie could care less about it.
Johnny talked about this in an interview on the show Unsung. He said he didn't understand where the rumors started or why they lasted for so many years. It hurt him to be judged by something that wasn't true. In those days, false stories spread fast through gossip columns, not just online like today. Johnny didn't have the tools we have now to fight back against lies. He had to deal with whispers, jokes, and fake news without any way to stop it. Johnny did have relationships with women, like fellow R&B singer Stacey Lattisaw. But even that wasn't enough to stop people from making false claims about him. Some folks ignored the truth and kept believing the lies. Because Johnny didn't talk about his personal life much, the rumors just kept growing. He felt like he had to defend himself again and again, which must have been exhausting. Even though the rumors caused him pain, Johnny never showed hate toward the LGBTQ+ community. In fact, he said that going through this made him understand the struggles gay people face. He said the experience gave him more compassion. He learned how hard life can be when people make assumptions about you, especially when those assumptions are based on lies or stereotypes. He realized how cruel the world can be to people who are different or misunderstood. To prove his point, Johnny once took a lie detector test.
He never asked me to do it, but I wanted to show her something. I wanted to prove a point to her.
He wanted to show the world that he was telling the truth about being straight. He didn't have to do that, but he was tired of the lies. That test was a way to tell people, look, I'm done with the gossip. Here's proof. It's sad that a person would have to do that just to be believed. Most people don't go through such extreme steps to prove who they are. But Johnny did it to stop the noise. Another fact that shows Johnny is straight is that he has a son named Isaiah Gill. He also had relationships with women in the past. There has never been real proof that he was in a relationship with a man. People just assumed things based on what they thought they saw or heard. But facts are facts. He had a child and dated women. Still, some folks didn't want to let go of the rumors. They preferred to believe lies instead of facts.
I was saying to her and wanted to show her that this is why you have to watch people and be careful about the dogs that bring the bones. Because nobody cared less about whether that could have affected our relationship.
In an interview with DJ Vlad, Johnny spoke about the hurt these rumors caused. He said he got tired of people calling him names or spreading lies. He even said, "Say that to my face and see if you can walk away." That shows how angry and frustrated he felt. He wasn't just annoyed. He was deeply hurt that people made fun of him or questioned him just for being quiet about his personal life. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just living his life. He also talked about how, growing up as a straight man, he used to joke around with his friends, using words like gay or other names, not realizing how harmful they were.
I don't want somebody to take a misstep, make it as misstep and saying that, well, what's wrong with being gay? It's like, because there's nothing wrong with being gay. If that's who you are.
Right. It's just not accurate.
There's something wrong with somebody accusing you of being something or someone that you're not.
He said, "We didn't know better." But as he got older and went through all the rumors and pain, he understood why those words can be so hurtful. He learned that you shouldn't make fun of people for who they are. He said that now he treats everyone the same no matter who they are or what they believe.
Nobody wants to be accused of something that they're not. Mm-hmm. I don't care whether it's a thief, whether it's your sexual preference, to whatever the case it is.
He said nobody ever came up to him in person and called him gay to his face. He believed people only talked behind his back. He said, "If you really believe that about me, then come say it to my face. And if you walk away on your 2 feet, then I'll be whatever you want me to be." That was his way of saying he was done with the lies. He didn't need to prove himself to anyone anymore. So yes, Johnny Gill is straight. He's also a father, a talented singer, and a man who learned to be kind, even when others were not kind to him. He faced gossip, media lies, and personal attacks. But through it all, he stayed true to himself. And that's what matters most. In 2011, singer Johnny Gill got into big trouble because of things he said on Twitter. He was angry at Ira DeWitt, who was the CEO of his record label, Notify Records.
Hey, we're here with the author Gill.
Gill went on Twitter and said some very mean things about her. He called her deranged and crazy, and even said she was running a fake music company. He also said she leaked one of his songs that wasn't finished. All of this made Ira very upset. She felt hurt and believed Johnny had damaged her good name. So, she decided to sue him for defamation, which means saying things that can hurt someone's reputation. The whole fight started because Johnny believed Ira gave his song to another singer without asking him. He also thought she leaked his unfinished song online using a fake Twitter account. Johnny was very upset and took out his anger online, where everyone could see it. But social media is not always the best place to fight. When famous people say bad things online, it can cause serious problems. That's what happened here. People started talking about it, and it became a big issue. Ira DeWitt filed the lawsuit in August of that year. She said Johnny's words were not just opinions. She said they were lies that made her look bad. In court, if you want to win a defamation case, you have to prove that what the person said was false and not just an opinion. So calling someone crazy might be seen as just an opinion, but saying they leaked a song could be seen as a lie if it's not true. In the end, they did not go to court. The lawsuit was dropped. Johnny and Ira talked things over and made peace. Johnny even said they became friends again. But that wasn't the only legal issue Gill had. In 2013, Johnny filed a lawsuit against the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. He said a drunk white man attacked him and shouted racial insults. This happened on August 23, 2011. At night, around 11 p.m., Gill was sitting on the outdoor patio with some friends. They were just talking and relaxing. Then, out of nowhere, a man sitting nearby started yelling hateful words at him. The man was very drunk and had no reason to say those things. Johnny Gill is a black man. The drunk man who attacked him was white. Gill said he didn't do anything to start a fight. He only told the man to stop saying those mean and racist words. But instead of stopping, the man pushed Gill hard. He pushed him so hard that Gill hit a heating lamp nearby. This caused Gill serious injuries. He was in a lot of pain and had to spend money on medical treatment. Because of this attack, Johnny Gill said he couldn't perform for a while. He had to cancel some shows. He lost money because he couldn't work as a singer. Performing is how he makes a living, and he has been doing it for over 20 years. The injuries from the attack affected his career and his health. Gill also said the hotel did nothing to help him. No staff member or security guard came to stop the drunk man. They didn't even try to control the man before he got too drunk. Gill believes the hotel should have done something to protect him. He felt the hotel was careless. Gill is asking the court to give him $1 million for the pain, medical bills, and lost earnings. His lawyer, Michael Shapiro, is helping him with the case. Johnny had a lot of problems with his record label. He spoke out in public and said they didn't take care of his music career the right way. He felt they made poor choices about when and how to release his music. Because of this, some of his songs didn't do as well as they should have. He believed the label didn't support him enough, and this made things very hard for him. He also said the people at the label didn't listen to his ideas or respect his talent. This caused his relationship with them to get worse over time. He started to lose trust in the people who were supposed to help his career grow. Johnny also had problems with money. He said he was not paid fairly for his music. He believed the record label was not giving him the right amount of money for the songs he made. This led to legal fights. Gill wanted to make sure he got the money he earned. He worked hard on his music and felt he should be treated with respect. He took his case to court because he believed the label was keeping money that belonged to him. It made him very upset that after all the years he spent working in music, he still had to fight for what he earned. Another big issue was the use of his music without his permission. Johnny said people used his songs without asking him or paying him. He took legal action because he felt this was wrong. His music was his work, and he had the right to control how it was used. By going to court, he wanted to protect his music and stop people from stealing it. He believed artists should be treated fairly and with respect. There were also rumors about fights between Johnny and other members of the group. Some people said he had big problems with Bobby Brown and Ralph Tresvant, but Johnny said that these stories were exaggerated. He admitted that they had disagreements, but they were not as serious as people thought. However, he did say that he and Michael Bivins had some real issues. He and Michael recently had a long conversation to fix their problems. Michael had also talked about his own struggles with some of the other group members. Johnny said that Michael Bivins did not get the credit he deserved for his business skills. He believed that Michael should be seen as one of the top businessmen in the music industry, like Jay-Z, Diddy, and Jermaine Dupri. Michael helped build talent and make deals, but many people did not recognize his work.
Jigga saw me in the audience. I'm standing in the chair. You know, I'm a little dude. And he said some clever, nice words to me, man. And
When it came to money, Johnny said he never struggled financially. He made smart choices and lived in million-dollar homes that came from New Edition's success. But he noticed something strange. Many times in group photos and artwork, he was in the background. He found it funny because, in reality, he might be the most financially successful member of the group. Even though he was sometimes overlooked, he knew his worth and was proud of what he had achieved.
You know, this is a business that we're operating in. And I said, and at the end of the day here, this is how we make our living and how we feed our families. And we just don't feel like we're in a place where we're being treated at the level that we all feel like we should be being treated.
But like many music groups, they had problems with record labels and business. At one point, they left their old record label, MCA Records. They were unhappy there and wanted a fresh start. So, they signed with a new label called Bad Boy Records. This label was owned by Sean Combs, also known as Puffy or P. Diddy. They hoped working with Puffy would bring new life to the group. They thought he could help them grow again and reach a new generation of fans. Under Puffy's label, they worked on their 7th album called One Love. Puffy was very involved in making this album. He had a big say in how the songs sounded. One of the songs, Hot Tonight, became a hit on the radio and in clubs. People liked the song, but even though the song did well, the group wasn't happy with the rest of the album. They felt like it didn't truly show who they were as artists. They had their own style and sound, but Puffy wanted to change it. He wanted to make them more like the artists who were already on his label. This caused problems. Making the album was not easy. Bobby Brown was not part of the group at the time, so the group was already dealing with changes. Some members were excited to work with Puffy. They thought it would be good for business. But Johnny Gill had a different feeling. Johnny had known Puffy for many years. He met him long before the other group members did. He even took Puffy to a big boxing match once. That day, Puffy rode on a private jet for the first time. Johnny remembered how Puffy looked around the jet, amazed. At that time, Puffy was new to that rich lifestyle. But later, he got used to it and only flew private.
I invited him to one of the fights. I forgot what fight it was. It was many, many years ago. And that was the first time that he had ever been introduced to being on a jet. And I remember watching him. It was the funniest thing to watch him on the jet. And he's like looking around like this.
Even though they had a friendship, Johnny and Puffy had a big argument while making the album. It happened in front of a lot of people. They yelled and disagreed over the music and how things were being done. Later that night, Puffy called Johnny at his hotel room. Puffy told Johnny he was embarrassed by what happened. He said they had known each other a long time and it hurt him to fight like that. Johnny agreed to talk with him. They had a long conversation about their problems. During the talk, Johnny told Puffy how serious the music business was to them. He said it was not just about making fun songs. This was how they fed their families and paid their bills. He told Puffy the group didn't feel respected. They didn't feel like their voices mattered. Johnny said that when something gets in the way of a man taking care of his family, it becomes personal. Puffy listened to Johnny and understood his point. They agreed to try to fix things and finish the album.
I said, this is how we make our living. So, you know, when it comes down to how it affects how we got to feed our families, it's personal.
Still, even after that, things did not feel right. Working at Bad Boy Records meant they had to follow Puffy's way. Everything there was about Puffy. His sound, his style, his rules. It became clear to New Edition that their music was not the main focus. They felt like they were just part of Puffy's bigger plan, not the stars of their own story. This made it hard to feel excited about the project. Later on, Johnny looked back and said he was still thankful to Puffy. Even though things didn't turn out great, Puffy gave them a chance when others wouldn't. They were struggling with MCA, and Puffy took a risk by signing them. He believed in them when they needed help. But in the end, the partnership just didn't work the way they hoped.